So Beth, are you ready?
I am ready. Hi.
Okay. Hi. So I'd like to introduce Beth. Give me the correct pronunciation.
Huerta.
Huerta. Okay, good. I'm glad you did that. I thank you so much, for being here. And again, just to do a new introduction, so Jay doesn't yell at me. Beth is here, and I want to thank Pro Photo Daily, American Photography, Photo Shelter, and Epson for supporting us. And with that, Beth, it's all you.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm going to set up my screen share. Just take me a moment.
Yes. Yep. And where are you now, Beth?
I'm in Chicago at the moment.
Okay, great. Didn't get as much snow as we did, right? Or New York did.
No, I guess we did not, which is fortunate and unusual, I should say as well. Are you able to see my screen, Frank?
Yes, you're good, Beth.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Good news. So, good evening, everyone. Frank, thank you so much for having me. I'm truly grateful for this opportunity. I am Beth Huerta. I'm an editor, agent, educator, and visual artist. I offer curating services to photographers across the world, websites, promotional materials, books, exhibitions. And for the last 11 and a half years, I served as senior agent at Candace Gellman and Associates, supporting business development, marketing, and positioning for her roster of incredible photographers and directors. At Drexel University, I am an adjunct instructor in the photography program, teaching business for photographers, production, portfolio development, and marketing. And beginning in the fall of 2026, I'll be teaching generative AI for photographers. I'm also a visual artist whose diverse creative background directly informs the work I make today. I started out as a dancer. I earned my BFA from Cornish College of the Arts with an emphasis in choreography. And what drew me in was not only movement, but the elements required to build a completed work. So the costuming, set design, lighting, the music. I used these tools to construct worlds, immersive environments where dancers existed and interacted. In my late 20s, I began making photographs to immortalize the choreographic worlds I was creating. Some of the early photographic work is shown here. Professionally, I've had the privilege of working with exceptional photographers. I began working for Howard Schatz as an administrator and photographer's assistant. I was the archivist for Theo Westenberger, the first woman to shoot covers for Newsweek and Sports Illustrated. I later became the studio manager for William Huber out of Boston and the in-house producer and studio manager for Pier Nicola D'Amico in Philadelphia. As an agent, I've had the honor of working with Art Streiber, Kennedy Carter, Olivia B., who was discovered by my former employer at the age of 15, and Sandro, who has been a guest of this very series, to name a few. So I'd like to start at the beginning, the true beginning. Before I ever crafted what I'm making now, which is visual artwork that is made using generative tools, I was carrying a visual memory bank, fragments of childhood, performance, and my photographic life. My Cuban grandfather collected vintage stamps. Some tiny pieces of paper were my first encounters with miniature world building, tiny theater stages frozen in color. This clown image is the first AI image I ever generated. It emerged without planning, almost like a dream that had been waiting. I began using Midjourney in January of 2022, at the earliest stage of the modern AI wave. Working across each version has given me a long view of how the medium has evolved technically, aesthetically, and ethically. My visual language formed slowly over years of directing, refining, and shaping these worlds. Early adoption also meant living through every phase of the ethical conversation, and I work with transparency and awareness of the technology's history. These are a couple of my very first images. They weren't inventions so much as recognitions of a world I already carried, one built from memory, performance, and fragments gathered over time. Inheritance. By inheritance, I don't mean lineage. I mean aesthetic inheritance. The images, atmospheres, and structures that shaped me long before AI. The stamps, my first introduction to gesture, color, miniature staging, dance, which taught me tension, direction, and the language of bodies in space, photography, which taught me composition, intention, authorship, clarity, and emotional intelligence. All of it became raw material for my AI work. I didn't invent these worlds, I inherited them. They feel remembered to me. Here is a photograph I made in my late 20s when I was still taking pictures with cameras, and the AI image it inspired. Here again, a photograph of a woman that I took wearing a carousel crown and the AI image that was born from it.
Yeah, Beth, let me just interrupt just a question. So is the AI piece for you as satisfying as the original image that you had taken? And I know you're reading it and I don't want to interrupt, but just, a question.
Yeah, I am reading. I'm sorry it's so
No,
obvious,
no,
but I
no,
had
no,
to
no, that's fine.
I
No,
had to make a script.
no, no, no,
Um,
that's totally fine. It just that's a question for you. Do you
sure.
find the AI piece more or less satisfying than the original image that you took?
I find them equally satisfying.
Okay.
The photography that I made was always very theatrical, props, costumes, high concepts. Having to pull together all of the disparate elements to create the images that I made with camera was always a challenge, of course. And the limitations were my skill set. I am not a great photographer. I wasn't trained. I didn't know about lighting. I didn't know how I could see it, but I couldn't make it.
Yeah, yeah.
So suddenly with the beginnings of generative imagery and the ability to create an AI, the world is opened up to me. I can express what I want, I guess, better than actually physically put it together. This is an image of me performing alongside an AI work that I created. And you can see the inspiration exists there as well. And I apologize for the dog.
No.
All
Perfect.
right. I've always been drawn to war propaganda. There's a tension between fear, pain, displacement, and the surreal performative spectacle of USO show culture, sort of war as performance. That theatrical contradiction mirrors the emotional architecture of my own images. So, stage heightened, composed, and suspended. Showgirls show up a lot in my work. I've long been fascinated with traditional showgirls. The spectacle, the costuming, the constructed glamour, the implied sexuality, objectification, and again, the elements of performance that shape my early creative life. Vaudeville, the raw, sweet, sweet absurdity of the tiny vintage venues that kind of harken vaudeville for me, a circus-like oddity. The worlds inspire much of the emotional texture in my work. So we're going to go to 1950 now. For me, 1950 isn't retro. It's an emotional climate. A world defined by performance, optimism, strict social staging, and hyper feminine spectacle. Polished surfaces with something unsettling beneath. My images borrow this tone, glamorous, controlled, slightly haunted. It becomes the backdrop, emotionally and psychologically, for where my characters exist. This is some of the work that I've created that I feel exemplifies what I pull in from my perception of the era, the 1950s. Evolution. As I continue working, the worlds sharpen. The theatricality grows more intentional. The characters become ghosts, remnants of imagined lives that feel familiar despite never existing. This is where my voice crystallizes. Less experimentation, more authorship, less what AI can do, and more what can I say through it. So these newer works show where the work is heading, staged, haunted, and emotionally suspended. There's tension here that I want to address as I go through these last few slides. I spent my entire professional career championing traditional photographers, protecting their work, advocating for authorship, and helping shape careers. My professional life taught me what makes an image work: composition, intention, authorship, clarity, emotional intelligence. So working in AI brought a real conflict. How do I honor photographers while engaging with a medium that unsettles, is currently unsettling the field I spent years protecting? And that tension has actually offered clarity. Working between photographic legacy and AI has sharpened my understanding of what I value: direct authorship, deliberate world building. AI didn't pull me away from photography, it almost illuminated the parts of photography that were already mine. So every choice, staging, gesture, composition, curation comes from the same place I've always worked. AI did not replace photography for me, it expanded the space where my photographic instincts could live. I'd like to share now my current reel, and I am going to stop sharing for just a moment because I want to reshare and be sure to first select that I like to share my sound so we know that it actually happens. Are you able to see a black screen, Frank?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, baby, I'm out here on my own. Won't you come and save me? Don't wanna be alone. Won't you come and save me? You know I hate to be alone.
You still love me, don't you?
Oh, baby, I'm waiting at your door. I wanna see you daily. I'm your long lost love. Won't you come and save me? You know I hate to be alone. I don't wanna leave you, but I won't believe you. So I'm gonna go on my own. I don't wanna leave you, but I won't believe you. So I'm gonna go on my own. Doll baby, I love
And that's that. That's the
Wow.
presentation. Thank
Wow.
you. This is my website, my Instagram account. I have I have been deliberate about generating a new image every single day. And once I have, I put it up on my Instagram account. So you can I'm up to about 60,000 generations now. So slightly obsessed.
I would say so. Let me ask you this. I mean, and you're getting you have to look in the chat room and all these hearts that are flying and thumbs up and on and on and on from Liz and Glenn Backen who's also just really another great lover of AI.
And an
Um,
incredible artist at that. I'm so happy
yeah.
that he's here with us this evening.
Um,
Thank you, Beth.
yeah. Did the people that you represent, those photographers, Howard and Sandro, and the whole lot of them, um, were they part of the input that you would use with AI with your direction? I would like a Howard Schatz light, or I'd like a Howard Schatz movement, right? I mean, were you able to use that information for your own inspiration?
There's no question that the people that I've worked with, and again, I mean, what an incredible group of people that I have been so blessed in my career to work with, the top of the top of the top. There's no way that their essence, their work hasn't influenced me. It has become part of the visual DNA of the work that I make now. But I
Mm.
never go in thinking about any one of them. That's the
Right.
strange bit. I
Yeah.
never go in and think, okay, well, I really hope this ends up looking like a work, something that Howard Schatz may have conceived.
Right.
So I just allow it to marinate, be a part of the soup. And what
Mm.
comes out is absolutely inspired by the people that I've surrounded myself with professionally. Yeah, no question.
Yeah. So if anyone else has a question, raise your hand and now would be the time. So for you as a business person, right? I mean, you started really in the, being a rep and this AI tool has unearthed this creative space for you that have never have been realized,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Right? Because
When
like you
I
said,
was
I know I love light. I see it, but I don't know how to do it, as you said.
exactly. Yeah.
And,
Well,
and,
my
and
mom
this
warned
did.
me. I was working for Howard Schatz, and his wife had
Yeah,
offered me a job in their front office. And prior to then, I was working as a photo assistant. So I was on the sets. I was
right,
watching him light. I was learning from him. And when I mentioned this to my mom, she was the first person who said, be careful, because do you want to remove yourself from watching Howard work when you're trying to learn how to light, learn how to use camera, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, you're right, you're right. And I turned Beverly Orenstein down, which you never do.
right.
And just shortly after that, I was offered a full-time job with William Huber. And I mean, I wanted to move to Boston. I wanted a full-time job. I just took it. Suddenly, I'm removed from learning about how to make these things with camera and lights. So, yes, to answer your question, AI has given me an opportunity now to get out of me what's been bubbling for all of these years since I took a behind the scenes job and sort of stayed in it.
It's sort of I'm gonna crucify the metaphor that I want to come up with, but it's sort of like a writer who didn't have a pen and pencil and paper,
Yeah.
and then was given those tools, and then wrote The Fountainhead, right? I mean, it really, like seeing you. I would have to think other people who are watching and myself on that list. Yeah, well, maybe not me, but in general, there's got to be people who are saying, I could do that, right? I mean, there's got to be an inspiring piece to the journey. And I don't know if other people are feeling that as well. But you have some great comments in there. Like I say, if anyone, raises their hands or has a question, um, yeah, I mean everyone. Beth, Beth Galton is here, another great photographer who's been
Beth
on.
Galton, who I had the privilege of working with when I was with
Yeah,
Candace, is
yeah,
Beth. Hi. I just have to say
yeah.
hi. I miss
Hello,
you.
hello, Beth. I
Hi.
didn't want to miss it.
I mean, there you go. Perfect example. There's no way you work with someone like Beth Galton and not have it influence you. There's just no way. So
Yeah.
I've been blessed,
Thank
Yeah.
you.
truly blessed in my career.
Right. So, what's the next project? I mean, like, so how do you work now that you're an artist, right? Like, where are you going with this?
Yeah. I've had a lot of really great opportunities being here. For one, I was just featured in OpenEye magazine, the first US based AI artist to be featured. I am working right now as freelancer, editing and curating, as I mentioned, and also working on some strategy and marketing for a company that does use AI as an offering for their clients.
Mm,
So it's really been exciting to be a part of what's next in terms of the integration of AI with commercial work. I do all that, and then at the end of a long day, I sit on my couch with my phone, I jump on Discord, and I make an image because it's how I relax in the evening. So I'm not really sure where I'm intending to go with it all. I have to think about that. I'm still learning. The tools are still advancing at a warp speed. I'm literally in the midst of a filmmaking course right now, so I can try to get a bit better at my motion work. But eventually, I think what I'd like to do is be sure to be a part of every advancement the tools can muster.
mm. So, and this is maybe a question for you, and certainly a question for Glenn as well, because Glenn takes
Yes.
the technology and creates these campaigns, these ad campaigns, with a social piece to it, right? So do you think you can get in, or do you want to get into advocacy, documenting like a particular issue that is sensitive to you? Like, for instance, because I'm very much in the photojournalist space, right? How could you use the tool with a subject matter like young brides, right? That's an issue throughout Afghanistan and Syria, where there's forced brides, into young girls into being getting married to something that's arranged by a family, and using that is just something that pops into my head. But something, how does AI help us, or can we use AI to expose issues that are difficult for society,
Hmm.
right?
I think, would you like to speak to that? I would love it if you would. You really are working quite a bit in that space.
Hey Beth, it's great to finally see you. So Frank, Beth and I met, was it last year perhaps? I don't know if, or
And
was it
even
2 years
before
ago?
then,
Before then, yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
we've our paths have crossed throughout our
but I
tenure
mean,
at AE.
our AI lives have crossed it. So
Yeah.
we've had a number of conversations, Frank, about AI. Just so you know, just we're fans of each other's work and all that stuff. But to get back to your question, I mean, I'm trying to work with lots of different groups, Frank, of AI artists
Right.
that have exactly what you're referring to. It's like, is there a way to gather artists, whether you're an individual or a group of artists, AI artists, that can go to foundations and different causes to offer help,
Mm.
whether it's paid or otherwise. I've done a bunch of things that are not paid, but that's mostly for animal organizations. I just can't imagine taking money from those organizations, so I just volunteer myself to do the work around the world, with regard to animal welfare. Um, but I think I know you know this, Frank, there are so many organizations that don't have the kind of money to do an extraordinary campaign on any level. They just don't
Right.
have the funds. So I do think if they were, it would be tapped and we're, so there are volunteers to help, or for small budgets, that you can see there's almost nothing you can't do with AI. That
Right.
would cost, hundreds of thousands otherwise with CGI work or photographic work or a combination thereof.
Right.
So I think it's just about to explode, just because it's still so new. This stuff is only 3 years old, so it's not like it's been around for decades. Um, it's still finding its voice, as Beth said. The work is moving, and light speed is an understatement. I mean, it's changing every few weeks almost, Frank, at this point.
Right.
So you have to
Yeah.
stay on top of it. It's only getting better, but you do have to stay on top of it, though.
Right. So it's sort of an interesting thing how, how does an AI generated creative like you and Beth, how do you develop your style? Is it more content driven? Like you own, in my mind, you own those social issues with animal rights, right? That's something if I saw a campaign, I would say there's a fair chance that Glenn did that work. So how does an AI artist, is it content driven? Is it style driven? That is something that I know Beth did. I know that
Right,
whoever
right.
did it, right? How do you develop that?
I think I'll answer really quick, Beth, and please,
Please, no, Glenn, please.
this is your show. But to answer that question, Frank, we know each other for 30 years. My history is as a creative director, art director. I'm not in quotes, an artist with a style, because as an art director, you don't want the same style no
Mm,
company wants the same style from one brand to another. Where
right,
Beth, on the other hand, and that was a question I was going to ask, but we're here now, Beth. When you show your work, and I've been following you obviously since we met around AI, I know it's your work because you've established sort of a retro modern version of yourself that's been sitting in your mind all this time, and now you're putting it on paper, or in this case, digital. Um, so I think you're honing a style where, Frank, I try never to have the same style. I know that, and I thank you, Frank. I know you're following me on LinkedIn. Um, I don't, the work doesn't, it changes from concept to concept or from brand to brand with very much intention, right? So
right.
I think it depends on whose hands it's in. Do you
Mm,
know what I mean? Are you a fine artist? Are you an artist that you want to be known for your style, or are you a creative where the project dictates where it goes, not your style that goes with it? So When people reach out to me for work, they're not looking for a style at all. They're looking for the conceptual mind of the work.
Right. So it's more so for Beth, it's more content driven than it is style driven.
Yes, so I think what Glenn's saying is that he's learning how to use these tools in order to create content, as you said, and is quite good at it. Obviously, you've seen his work, but he is able to come up with concepts across a very wide
Right.
field.
Yep.
It has to do with the client's needs, but also Glenn is, he's an you are, Glenn, a incredibly prolific artist, because look
Thank
at the
you.
spec work he's doing. I mean, he's actually coming up with these concepts, whereas I just wanted to play in a world, sort of like a fantasy. So I found something that I liked and stuck with it, and now I've sort of gotten myself a bit pigeonholed in what someone might say is my voice.
Mm.
And I'm okay with that still. I may make a major shift someday, but for now I'm really enjoying, all the clothing from the 1950s and the mise en
Right. How much
scène,
fun.
like I can't walk away from that.
That's very true. Steve, you want to mention something about generated AI?
Well, just I have another world where I am. Can I be heard? I think I can be heard.
Yeah, yeah, we hear you.
Oh, okay, great. So I have another world where I'm actually completely separate from images, completely separate from Greenland. It's working with AI and making modifying answers in AI answers. So it's a combination of web kind of tools and some other things. I'm actually patent pending on this process. But just when I heard the talk of kind of nonprofits and things like that, that's something that I'm very interested in, of like being able to correct the narrative of underrepresented peoples in AI answers or things like that. So that's sort of a tangent of what we're talking about. But yeah.
Wow. Okay, great. Anyone else have any questions, or we could just have Beth and Glenn and Steve just have a conversation.
Wait, Lisbeth Gershfeld's here too. She needs to
Yeah,
chime in
she's
for
Yeah,
amazing.
Liz,
sure.
yeah, get Liz on
Seriously, get Liz on.
yeah, that's and I guess that I mean I don't want to put her on the spot, but Beth, how does this fit for you, Beth Galton? Let's see if Beth wants to share any wisdom
Oh
as
my,
relates to.
oh my God, goodness. What impresses me about AI and why I keep watching all these presentations is that it gives the ability to kind of go deep into your stories and your fantasies. And I think that's what makes it kind of an exciting part of the field, that it's not copying or replacing, but it can be used as a tool to create. And that's what I find so interesting about it.
Yeah. Okay. Great. 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 Great.
Amazing.
Wow. Yeah, that's all of it's very, 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 very inspiring. And both of you, I mean, Glenn, you got to stop playing. Glenn has used every prop that you could possibly use on the screen here.
Emoji.
Yeah, every emoji that you could
And
possibly.
Frank, I just want to say that, like with anything that one has access to, it can be used as a force of good,
Yeah.
or it can be used as a force of the opposite of that, which would be
Right.
terrible. But AI for me has truly opened the door creatively to worlds that I have had in my imagination, like you said, and haven't had a way to get out of me. So I'm grateful for that and my use it for a creative outlet. But absolutely to your point, there's a lot of promise there where AI can be used and integrated as a force for good
Yeah.
down the
Yeah.
right roads.
Yeah. Yeah. Rachel, did you want to say something? You
Mm.
popped up there. No? Okay. Yeah, Rachel, do you want to say
Oh,
something?
I'm so sorry. No, that was an accident. My apologies.
No, 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 no problem. No problem at
Actually,
all.
this is Beth. I want to say one last thing is that if you think about it, when digital first came along, everybody was horrified, right? We were all like, oh, do we want to give up film for digital? And when I switched to digital, it was so freeing it really allowed me to be much more creative in a way that I never expected. And I think that AI has that potential as well.
Yeah, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it live with these great artists. So, with that, Steve, Beth, I cannot thank you enough for doing this with
Thank you.
us, and you have a standing offer to come back and show us new work, and we'd love to have you. I mean, you're both doing great work and important work. And we want you, we want you to come back and show us new work and inspire us. Um, and I'll make sure that Glenn's not on so he doesn't steal the show.
I'm not doing anything without Glenn. I want that in my contract.
All right, there you go. We give in really easily. So thank you all. And like I said, March 11th we have Ed Cashy, who'll be presenting, who's really a wonderful, wonderful, world-renowned photojournalist. So we're excited about that. Everybody, thank you so much, and
Thank you so much, Frank.
and
Frank,
enjoy
thank
enjoy
you.
the rest of the evening.